Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be getting the underfloor heating and the flooring fitted in this room, getting these knackered old wooden floorboards covered up and hopefully getting this room looking a little bit more finished. First job to do with any flooring is to prep your floor for underlay. So I've cleared this room out and then I've just given it a good vac, scraped off any little raised parts and stuff. So now it's ready for the underlay. This is the underlay I'm using. It's Vitrex Premium Underlay. The reason I chose this one was because the cable on the underfloor heating is about 5mm thick, so it needs to be thick enough that I can run that in a channel and the flooring isn't going to sit higher where the cable is, so this will account for that. It's also a specific underlay that is suitable for electric underfloor heating. Now I'm not sure what happens with other underlays if you use them with underfloor heating that it's not specifically recommended to use with, but I can imagine the underfloor heating gets hot and there could obviously be issues with the foam melting or something. I'm not 100% sure, but I wasn't going to risk it. I'm going to use the stuff that is designed for it. So it's basically just like a foam board. Just as you'd imagine, just a solid foam board. It also gives some level of insulation, so the heat's not going to go down into the floorboards below, and obviously the heat's going to rise up and heat the room as you want it to. It's also supposedly quieter underfoot. I don't see that as a massive problem, but this is above the kitchen, so it might help obviously dampen the noise a little bit. This is dead easy to lay as well. It can smooth out a few inconsistencies. You literally just put it down, and then I'm going to brick bond these so that I don't have any cross joints that you could potentially have a little bit of movement in. So yeah, I'll get these laid and then I'll look at getting the underfloor heating installed. I'm not an electrician, so I'm not going to give you like a how-to on that. If you want to see a how-to, just obviously look on YouTube. I'm sure there's loads of them. But I'll get that installed, and then once that's done, I can obviously get the flooring down. So the flooring I'm using is a laminate herringbone, but it's not just a herringbone pattern on straight boards, it's the actual herringbone board. So I've never laid a herringbone pattern before, so that'll be a new one for me. Hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos and it looks fairly straightforward, but we'll have a bash as always and see how we get on. So I'll get this underlay down and then we'll look at doing the floor. Okay, so there's a few instructions on these. It says to lay them staggered like I've mentioned, not a problem, and just to leave a 5mm gap around the edge. Now I would have left a 10mm gap anyway, so that's not an issue. So yeah, you just stagger the boards like that, and then I'll cut one of the boards in half to fill in this gap. And to do that's dead easy. I'm just going to lay it underneath, line that board in, then I'm going to get a Stanley knife and I'll just run a knife down that edge. Cut this out. I'm going to flip that piece over just so it's the factory cut edge against it, and then you just carry on. Then at the other end I can obviously use the cut at the other end. That was the underlay all in place and taped together to stop it moving whilst laying the floor, so it was time to lay the underfloor heating. These are mats with wires running through them and are designed to be laid onto the underlay with the flooring directly on top. The hardest part here was working out where to put them, because unlike underfloor central heating, these mats aren't meant to cover the whole room and they aren't supposed to have furniture placed on top of them. So that's why I've cut them in a slightly weird layout here.
I'm feeling worn out, it's getting to me. Lost some heart trying to get on my feet. Caught in the madness, I feel you somehow. Don't let me go, I need you right now.
Now that's laid, it's time to lay the floor in. First thing to do for the herringbone layout is basically make this triangle shape where you've got 3 on one side, 2 on the other, and then what you do is you mark a line out as a triangle. So you put a board width, you start your line a board width away. So I put a board in here and you start there, and then you go diagonally to this board. Because you've got the 3 boards on this side, you have to step that one a board to make this the triangle. So what you then do is cut these boards out, but what I'm going to do first is just measure how big this triangle is going to be. So about 89. Then I'm just going to measure from this corner across to see how many of these triangles I need to fill this space. So I need 3 of these, and the third one's going to be cut. So what I'm going to do is make 2 more of these in the exact same way. I'll again mark them up, and then I'll cut 3 triangles out and I'll lay these across the floor, and then we can lay from there.
I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading out broken dreams. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading out broken dreams. I wanna be next to
Been out and cut all these pieces. I just did it on the miter saw, even though they're not really designed for cutting through laminate. But I've got a few spare blades, so I just sacrificed a blade. Gets a nice clean cut. The blade will be a bit knackered now, but like I say, sacrifice a blade for the sake of this project. What I've done with these is just numbered the pieces that need to go back together. So got 1, 2, 3 with the small bits, and then I've got offcuts that will then fill in, hopefully, the other side. They'll obviously need trimmed and stuff, but they'll be the filler pieces. So I'm just going to put these cuts back into one of the boxes. They'll be used for the infills on the other side of the room. Now I'll assemble these back together and lay them out on the wall, and then we can start laying. That's me 3 triangles done. So then I just put that into the corner of the room, leaving a gap for the expansion. I've got quite a decent gap because there's a gap under the skirting boards anyway. There's a gap under the plasterboard, sorry, and then there's the skirting boards. Now what you do is you just do a row of these left-hand boards, pressing them into place. And that'll lock the first triangle together. Followed by a row of the right hand boards. And that's that first bit in, and then you just carry on doing a left and a right, and then obviously cut your pieces in as and when needed. And it should be straightforward, but we'll see. So I'm going to time lapse this because it's very samey.
Tell me that you wanna stay, baby, just don't walk away. I need you now, fade it out. All the time we spent alone, fighting through the firestorm. Don't let me down, I need you now, 'cause I'm feeling worn out. It's getting to me, lost some heart trying to get on my feet. Caught in the madness, I feel you somehow. Don't let me go, I need you right now. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me. Holding our paper hearts, fading our broken dreams. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be.
You keep going, doing a row of the left and then a row of the right until you get to the opposite wall. Then you just need to make the cuts for the other side, which is pretty straightforward. I used a jigsaw for these and one by one placed them in. All of these edges are going to be hidden by the skirting board, so you don't need perfect cuts for these. I used a multi-tool to cut away the architraves to fit the final few pieces into place. And with that, the floor was done. This was my first time laying this herringbone pattern, and to be honest, it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. After you have those triangles made, you can't really go too wrong. In the next video, I'll be making and fitting the new skirting boards, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.